right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching. And we've got a really cool guest for you guys today. In fact, I've been thinking about it for at least the duration of the last week since our last episode. And how we've never had this person on the show seems really bizarre to me. But welcome to the show, Jamie Cavanaugh. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Adam. Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this for some time. I think we've been, we're two of those people in the industry that keep going, how have we not
done things like this?
Right?
We've been running in the same circles for literally decades.
Yep.
And and this is our 8th year of doing the show. Wow. And we're just now getting around to this. It's mind-boggling. How that fell through the cracks, I will have no idea. So in our particular circles, those of us that run in the mortgage space and see a lot of different events and chat with a lot of other people that have been at this for longer than I'm going to admit. If you want to tell the nice people in our audience how long you've been doing this, which would translate to how old you are, give or take, I'll let you, but I'm going to keep that shit a secret on my end for now. And yes, I am as old as I look. So that is a big piece of the puzzle. But Jamie, give us a little bit of background. What in the world made you think getting into the mortgage space, which is, what, a quarter century ago now? Longer?
Yeah. I don't think I have yet to meet anyone in our industry who said, from a young age, I knew that I wanted to be in the mortgage industry when I grew up. Definitely not.
No,
I thought I would be a lawyer.
And still not ever.
No. And some of us still say, why are we still? Because it is an amazing industry and we do impact people's lives and it is incredible. The stuff we deal with behind the scenes is also incredible in a different way. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, which family members would argue that I probably am to some degree in life.
Absolutely.
It's my ability to debate, but also possibly a teacher. And the interesting thing is I kind of am a little bit of both in some of the different things I get to do.
That's what we're doing here. We're educating, we're informing, we're instructing, we're giving guidance. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it, the speaking and the teaching and the coaching and the writing. But I will say that there is something very intrinsically rewarding about the mortgage space.
Absolutely. It's a love-hate, right? It's the here we are. None of us planned it, but we're all here and we all have a job to do. It's also one of the industries that, is extraordinarily profitable for people with or without institutional college degrees and educations, which is very unique about our industry. And so it's kind of like a come one, come all kind of industry where you kind of just fall into it most of the time and you find your place within it. And so I am not afraid to say I'm 28 years in. Go ahead and do the math. You can think that I got into it when I was 5 years old, which I'm completely fine with.
I thought 7, but okay.
Nice. My mom was a real estate agent. And so I grew up at open house, the whole thing, putting out the signs, doing the whole thing. Wow. And when I was in high school, my house, it was like, you don't get anything for free. Oh, you want to drive the car? Well, you better pay for your insurance and your gas. No, gas was $20 for a whole tank at the time. I digress. So started to work as a loan officer assistant for a loan officer at a small brokerage back in the 90s.
This was still in California?
Yeah, still in California. And that person is still a loan officer, by the way. Wow. And so I just started to learn the business. Then I graduated from high school and started college, and I'm doing both. I'm in college and I'm also working, and I'm looking around and I'm going, I don't like this whole college thing. I really like this whole mortgage thing. It's like a puzzle. I want to learn every single piece of this puzzle. So much to my father's dismay, I said, I'm going to take the leap. I am going to drop out of college and I'm going to pursue this full time. And here I am.
Still full time.
Still full. Is there even, if there's something more than full time, like if there's like full time plus, that's where I'm at.
I think the colloquialism is that the job is part-time and you can do whatever you want with the other 12 hours in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to sleep, eat, and bathe. That's how I.
Those are the things I have extra time for.
Yeah. Those are my extracurricular activities. All right. Good stuff. So this is obviously some time ago. You've seen some significant changes in the mortgage space. And likewise, I'll certainly put that out there. I had been originating loans for a number of years before starting my brokerage, which was 20 years ago this spring.
Wow, congrats.
It's a big number, right? For any
Mhm.
business, and certainly one in such a weird business as ours. But we saw what went on in 07, 08 with the
Mhm.
Street greed pertaining to the mortgage-backed securities
Yep.
market, what that did to the real estate industry as a whole. And obviously some additional bizarre anomalies, what went on in 20 and 21 and into 22, and what's gone on in 23 and 24. Although I am constantly reflective on the fact that if we took the period of the pandemic out of the historic fabric, we'd be right where we would be.
100% agree.
We had violent ups and then downs in real estate, violent downs and then ups in mortgages, prices versus rates, respectively. But had we just kind of continued on a normal path, real estate is kind of doing what real estate should be doing. Mortgage rates are kind of doing what mortgage rates should be doing.
Yeah, and property is still appreciating. Look at the historical index. I mean, this industry is always going to have ups and downs. And yeah, sometimes they are violent and we feel them. But we talk a lot about this as coaches.
That's putting it mildly.
Right?
Yes.
But we talk about this as coaches all the time with people. If you've started doing the right things and you kept doing the right things, then you will not feel those changes as violently as everybody else in the industry who unfortunately aren't implementing the tools, aren't executing, and if they do execute, aren't staying at it long enough to create habit. This whole thing that we all preach, I know we do. We all preach it, right? But there is no magic wand. What there is, though, is proof in the form of the thousands of successful producing originators who've been at this for a very long time through all markets, that if you do the things that work, it's not if you're going to be successful, it's when you're going to be successful. And I wish more people could see the longer game that this is and the fact that there is a payoff at some point, rather than getting discouraged early on and just not being consistent and then constantly asking why they're not getting the results that they want.
Well, and that's more than just an overview of the business in general. You guys have got to take that into account with everything that you're doing in your business as well. Whatever your lead gen techniques and tactics are. And that's a wide range. And we obviously work on a lot of them here when it comes to contact management and social media and video and writing and client appreciation events, just on and on and on. There are all kinds of lead generation ideas and tactics and techniques. A lot of them have stood the test of time. People have been doing them since your mom was doing real estate. Whatever that happened to be. And this was before the inception of social media and video and distribution through those channels and so on and so forth. But being constant and consistent in it will always pay those dividends. I give this example all the time, but I've got a coaching client, a real estate agent, who says he wants to try door knocking. Okay, that is a time-tested lead gen tactic, no question. I'm going to do 4 hours every Saturday, he says. Cool. That will produce results. And after about a month, he called me and said, well, that didn't work. I was like, well, okay, you did 4 hours every Saturday? Yes. For a month? Yes.
You did it 4 times.
That's I mean, I'm not all that good at math because I'm a mortgage guy, but 4 times 4 is 16. That's like one work day in the life of a new agent. So tell me it sucked. Tell me you hated doing it, but don't tell me it didn't work. If you did 4 hours every Saturday for a year, that shit would work. Okay. Same kind of thing with your business overall. You've got to, and God, we talk about this all the time too, and this will ring true for you and hopefully everybody else listening or watching. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a career, not a job.
It is.
You guys have got to understand that the shit you're doing now is you laying I don't care how long you've been in the business. Yep. The shit you're doing now is laying a foundation for things that are going to bear fruit in a year or 3 or 5. And if you can't have the vision to see down the road far enough to understand that, then this probably isn't the gig for you.
No, it's not. And if you can't understand that there's a big difference between I don't feel successful at this, let's examine why, and it's not working. It's not the action that's not working. It's either how you're doing it, how much you're doing it, and for how long you've been doing it that are going to create results or no results. And so I would be asking that person, what neighborhoods have you targeted? Are they the same ones? Like, what do you know about the demographic of where you are doing your door knocking? And how long are you willing to give this? Because 4 weeks isn't enough. A month isn't enough to say this did or didn't work. It's enough to get you comfortable, perhaps, and not feel as nervous about doing it. Maybe, but it's not going to give you results, not in that short time period.
All right, so let's talk about some of the shit that Jamie is doing. Now, Jamie, you're strictly working with loan originators at this point.
Yeah.
When it comes to your mentorship, your coaching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what kind of things are you seeing those people do that are bringing them success in the lead gen space?
Yeah, it's funny because social media wasn't a thing, years and years and years ago, and it is now. And so I'm seeing loan originators who might not even be from the generation like my daughter, who's going to be so tech savvy and social media integrated. I can't even believe it. I can't wait to see what this generation will do one day. But these people didn't have 11? That. 11, yeah,
she's 11.
11
my 10-year-old is probably the only kid I know that's streaming his live virtual reality gaming to his YouTube channel.
Oh, smart kiddo. See, there's a business already.
Tech savvy. Yeah.
Amazing. So I'm seeing people who aren't comfortable with social media, even in a personal sense, jumping in and figuring it out and taking the leap and doing the thing. And it works. The people that are successful right now are not only doing one thing, they're the people that are doing all of the things. The open houses, in some cases, the door knocking. I just had a real estate agent in my neighborhood door knock yesterday. I'm like, yes, girl, get it.
Oh, good for her.
So door knocking, I'm going to start talking about contact management because it's
I hope so, because that's going to still be priority number one.
Please do not tell me you have an Excel spreadsheet or a bunch of Post-it notes. That is your business. The heart, the foundation of your business.
That's when I hang up on you.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
what are you using for a CRM? A what? Well, where's all your contact information? Oh, I have a spread. Goodbye. Click.
I have a stack of business cards on my desk here that I've been saving for, a year. And get your contacts in there, because once you have a database that you can rely on, you can leverage it in countless ways. Social media is one of the ways, but the other ways are email blasts, are personal outreach, I could go on and on. You could hire a virtual assistant just to update people's contact information every 6 months to make sure you've got it. An email address and a phone number and a name are gold in this industry.
Yeah.
Gold.
If you're in real estate, a physical address.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the mortgage space doesn't care quite as much about it, but it is by far and away our most valuable asset. The office condo, all the equipment, the furniture, the televisions, whatever, that contact database. And again, because I'm aging myself and I've been doing this a long time, I probably touch 20,000 people 40 to 70 times a year, depending on who they are. And most of it's automated. I'm still picking up the phone. I love 100%. Talking on the phone. Contact management is still king in my mind.
And I bet your messaging sounds like you. I bet it doesn't sound robotic. I bet you've taken the time to make sure that you have campaigns and automation that are relative and relevant to the people that you serve. I have, between my partner, I think we have like 28,000 people in our database. We started it in the 90s and we never stopped. We've only added to it through the iterations of different CRMs, from the days of Act and Excel and all the way through. I mean,
you're going to throw Goldmine out there, aren't you?
Oh God, Goldmine. That's the thing. We knew the value of our contacts early on, and we knew that it was less important where we housed them, as long as it was a system that was able to be organized, filtered, and leveraged. And then the more that CRMs have evolved over time, the more we've leveraged those same contacts. But that's how you have people refer you business, and that's how you organically generate your own leads. And that's how you become a referral-based loan officer who's not constantly feeling like your only hope is building new relationships out there and praying that one of them sends you a lead, or buying leads, which in this market is useless.
I guess it's probably even more useless than it has been in the past. And I never even really hear about, $4 lead sources anymore. But I do think it's interesting that you brought up this genre of referral partner relationships because it is important.
Mhm.
But I do think what's really important is the relationship piece of it.
1000%. I've been a borrower-based, non-agent-centric loan officer for all of my career.
It's funny because we work on referral partner relationships in our program. And when I'm working with loan originators or real estate agents, opposite sides of the coin in this particular case, but I would tell a loan originator that if you asked me to make a list of the 10 most valuable industries where you could stem referral partner relationships, and again, please focus on relationship. Is this somebody you would want in your home for dinner? Is this somebody who you want to make sure they can put their kids through college? These kinds of things. But I'm not sure real estate agents would make my top 10.
Oh, I agree. And I'm the daughter of one, so trust me when I tell you that.
That's right. But the industry has always told people this. If you want to be a good loan originator, you have to have real estate agents in your pocket. And I come across loan originators who will say, well, I was getting, 80% of my business from this one particular real estate team and they disbanded.
Nailed it. You really want your livelihood to be dependent upon how someone else runs their business? That is something that would keep me awake at night.
Could you imagine your business being impacted by whether or not somebody else is doing their lead gen work? That's atrocious to me.
Not sustainable.
Okay, not sustainable. Repeat client referral base. Yes, you're getting some business from real estate agents. And for those of you that are in our audience that are real estate agents, this is not a dig.
No.
And for those of you that I have referral partner relationships with, I love you. I do. Thank you. And for trusting us with your business. This is part of that, helping you ensure your livelihood. But I want to be involved when the psychological triggers that lead to the buying and refinancing of homes occur. If a real estate agent refers me a buyer, they've already decided to buy. So I want to roll that clock back because I want to be involved with the industries, the industry partners that are involved when the psychological triggers that lead to the buying and refinancing of homes occur. The one that always blows people's minds that I truly love, high school guidance counselors.
How about it? Seriously, educating people earlier on to understand this process. That didn't exist even in my hemisphere when I was in school.
It still doesn't with people that are coming into the business.
I know a few great people that are trying to do that in their local communities, but it's such a small piece of the overall puzzle. That's a great one.
Yeah. You want to know who has their thumb on the pulse of people that are going to be empty nesters, people that are going to downsize, people that need money for college, whatever the case may be. Yeah, find those high school guidance counselors. I made sure to buddy up to my older son's high school guidance counselor and tradespeople. We totally ignore the tradespeople, which is insane. If loan originators would show the kind of love, and I use that term really loosely, and I'll explain, to tradespeople that they do to real estate agents, they would have an influx of business, plumbers, contractors, electricians, whatever, things that are a big ticket item. Their customer needs some money, whatever the case may be. And of course, when I say love, I'm kind of jabbing at some of the other coaching programs, and I'm sure you and I could have a conversation about that privately. We'll do it in private about some of these. They're like, we'll call 40 agents every Monday and ask them for a cup of coffee.
Oh, the coffee. I moderated a panel.
Have to buy them a cup of coffee, which, by the way, is the only benefit to them because they don't have any fucking business right now.
I moderated a panel of top producing agents in the nation at an event for Equity Prime Mortgage. It's probably been 4 or 5 years now.
I
asked them the question, what's the number one thing you don't want a loan officer to do? Do not call me and ask me to have coffee. Do not. Tell me what you do differently. Tell me what your niche is. Tell me why I should consider you, and then be there for me to give me value and information so that when an opportunity does present itself, you're top of mind. It's not that complicated.
Not coffee. So that was probably the EPM event in Atlanta when they had that big cold front. We got to hang out with Gary V a bit, which was really cool. And Emmett, that was a great event. And kudos to Eddie and EPM. They do great events. No question about it. But I think it was right in that same era I had gone to an event for Nexa. And Josh with Shred is there filming short videos live of everybody. And he asked me, I said, actually, here, this is perfect because here is Mr. Tips. Adam, give us a quick tip. And I threw a couple out regarding conference work. And then he moved on and started interviewing an executive with UWM. And this guy, who's had about 17 Red Bulls, I think, that morning, is screaming into Josh's camera about, now it's time to double down. And if you're calling 40 agents a day, you need to call 80. And I'm like, why? Anything times 0 is still 0. You've got to, if you really want those relationships, and it doesn't really matter what the other industry is, if you're a loan originator, or if you're a real estate agent for that matter, you've got to be willing to commit to helping them increase their business.
That's it. What's in it for them? How am I helping you? How am I helping you help more people and do more business?
Yeah,
what am I giving you that you didn't have before? Am I a safe space for you if you're a newer agent to say, I don't understand this. Can you help me? Can you explain it to me? That was the other thing that a lot of real estate agents have shared with me over the years is when they were newer in the industry is feeling comfortable with their loan officer being a partner to them in the sense that if they weren't sure of something that they could ask, because real estate agents don't do mortgage loans. Borrowers, they're not typically fluent in mortgage loans. The more we help them to understand the process so that they can guide their clients and be with us on the journey as opposed to next to us on the journey, that's what builds relationships. Relationships are everything. Relationships are why you and I are sitting here talking today. I would argue there is nothing more important in any industry than relationships.
No doubt. No doubt about it. Actually, it's funny because you talk about what they really need. And when I started in the business, the general misconception was that in order to be a good loan originator, you had to have real estate agents in your pocket. In order to do that, you had to get in front of real estate agents. And in order to do that, people were teaching classes at title companies.
Yep.
This was here in Colorado, and I know a lot of you have title attorneys and that kind of thing. However, I said that can't be right. That can't be the path. So I figured I'd sign up, and I went to a class, and some dumb shit loan originator was teaching a bunch of real estate agents how to read appraisals. Like, that's not
why
their
do they
job.
need to know that?
That's your job. That's not their job, and that doesn't help them in their job. Okay, got to be an anomaly. I'll sign up for another. And it was a loan originator teaching real estate agents about VA loans. Like, well, again, that's your job to know about VA loans. So that was really where all of this at Just the Tip started. I was like, well, what would agents really want to know? And the answer is simple: more contracts.
How do I get more business?
Get more contracts.
And how do I understand enough to know that things from a high level are going smoothly and that I'm not concerned about much? How do I build relationships with loan officers that communicate? Like, it's very simple. Same way we talk about loan officers. If you're processing your own loans and disclosing your own loans, not scalable.
Not scalable. Well, don't get me wrong. I come across a handful of people. I've got a colleague here in town, great guy, does, maybe a dozen jumbo deals a year. Out of his basement, meets his clients at Starbucks, does all the legwork himself, and he's content doing it. We could look back at Todd Bitter before some recent changes in his year.
Friends, yep.
Absolutely. We've had Todd on the show a few times, which is weird that we haven't had you on the show a few times. But when we first had Todd on the show, he was doing every fucking lick of work all on his own. He would be a loan originator 8 hours a day. He would be a loan processor 8 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And then he had a little bit of time to sleep, eat, and bathe.
Barely. I was at the time. I gave him shit for that for years.
But he was really good at it.
He loved it. He loved doing it, and he wanted to own it. And when you look back on Todd's story and his journey, which he's shared publicly many times in some keynote speeches he's given, you totally understand why. But to be fair, he also evolved beyond that point and said, I love doing this and I'm good at it, but this isn't what I want to do forever. So that is a way that you can, if you're not careful, you can burn yourself out. Todd is a unicorn and an anomaly, and he knows it. Not everybody and very few people have that level of success and volume while they're doing everything on their own. And so what we find is, for those people, and there are loan officers here that are just like, I'm in the sunset of my career. I don't want to close 20. Okay. Then you're content with what you have. You're not looking to level up. For the people that are looking to level up, treat your business today, whether you have one loan or 5, as though you have 100. And I promise you, you will be able to increase your production with absolutely no loss of service or speed or value to the people you're working with. That's how you scale. That's how you set yourself up for a long-term success.
Absolutely. And it's not that difficult.
Nope.
It's I think the biggest difficulty, and I had it, you probably had it, we know Todd had it, and we're talking about a group of people that have been at this for a very long time with a serious amount of success, is that all of you listening, loan originators, real estate agents, if you are good at sales, odds are good you're a type A personality, you're a control freak, guilty. You have a very difficult time letting go of the work because you truly believe, and it might be true, that nobody could do the job as well as you could. Fine. If they can do it 80% as well as you could, then let them do it. It is absolutely the biggest hurdle. So our coaching clients have to make this pivot. We work on lead gen and client retention, and we go through all these steps, all these processes, setting up all the social media platforms and channels and content and video work and short form and writing for your industry publications and then writing for your local publications. And then some of them obviously take it a step further and write books, so on and so forth. Then we've got to turn. We've got to learn how to take that work that we have fine-tuned and teach somebody else to do it the way that we want it done.
Absolutely.
So that we can free up the time to be doing the high dollar activity.
It's highest and best use. They say perfection is the enemy of progress. And that is an incredibly true statement. It was really hard for me as I've transitioned to different roles over the industry. You know, you're an ops manager and a leader, and then you're a top producing loan officer, but you still have the mentality of the ops leader that controlled everything, but you can't, you know, and then you start to scale a company and you're building things everywhere in a bunch of different places. You can no longer be the person that does it all. It isn't possible to do that. And so you have to start to figure out how to balance the fact that there's more than one way to get to the end goal. And, you know, you might be right. Nobody else may do it as well as you do.
That could be.
Do it.
Some of those things, but they'll do it.
It's
and
hard.
They'll do it well, and they'll learn.
Yep.
And there are tricks to that as well. If you have handed off tasks to a new support person, let's call them a TC or an LOA or whatever the case may be, industry specific terminology there, then one of my favorite tools is when somebody asks me how to do something or how to solve a problem, I ask them, what would you do?
What would you do? Yep.
How would you solve this?
That's how people learn, by the way.
Yeah, and let them. And it's so rare on my team that they fuck something up and don't learn from it. It's unheard of. Yes, I let you have enough rope to hang yourself, and you did.
Yep.
And you're only going to do that once.
There's not much we can't fix. I mean, been around long enough we've had some whoppers, we've had some crazy things, we've had some stuff go all the way off the rails to the point of insanity and somehow managed to get it over the finish line. So yeah, you do have to let people fail a little bit because that's how they learn. But you nailed this one character trait, which is they're not going to make the same mistake twice because they obviously care, have pride in their work, and they know how important what they're doing is. And so let them learn. Nobody absorbs information well by having someone talk at them. Let them learn, let them reason it out.
Actually do it. Right. Yep. Do you remember Greg Frost?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the greatest things, and I know Greg's been gone for some years, and this was before I was a broker owner. So I don't know, 25 years ago, Greg said to me, there's no such thing as a mortgage emergency. Nobody's going to die.
Nope.
So yeah, let people learn. Especially those that want to do this, your junior LOAs, your junior partners, production partners, junior LOs, let your buyer's agents, let these people learn some of this stuff. There's no question. Yeah, it's so hard for the control freaks for us to.
It is. I'm kind of like a reformed control freak now, mostly. Yep. So
agreed. Mostly reformed. Yes.
Yeah, I have my moments.
Yeah, no question. That I am certainly sympathetic to. Okay, so we're going to run over, and I knew that we would, and we'll get you booked for another episode, I promise. And we'll do it sooner than 8 years, 10 years, whatever it's been. I feel terrible about that. I'll put it in my tickler as soon as we're done. But leave us with something nugget-esque. What is, a tip you would give to people that are boots on the ground, real estate agents, loan originators, certainly true for people in insurance, financial planning, whatever, that would help them get through the course of this year? Because it's going to be another weird one.
It's going to be another tough year in some ways, but if you believe in what you're doing and you wake up every day and you remember your why, then you can keep doing the work even if you can't yet see the results. And if you can master the skill of consistency without immediate payoff, you're going to make it in this industry in the long term. And you're going to still be there standing when a lot of other people couldn't. So keep the faith, keep the business building activities consistent. Understand that if you are doing the things that you know work, it's not if, it's when.
And if we're talking about people strictly in the mortgage space, I want to give you all a pat on the back anyway.
Yes.
We went from like 900,000 during the peak of the pandemic to like 90,000 that renewed their federal license for 2025. If you're in that group that is still originating loans in 2025, good on you.
Yep.
I mean, you've seen some shit and are still going. That speaks volumes. So yeah, keep on keeping on, you crazy diamonds. We love you. We do. Absolutely, we do. And that's one of the big benefits that we're all going to have this year, next year. Yeah, smaller pie, but bigger pieces.
Absolutely.
In that time frame, we literally dropped 90% of the people that are able to do what we do.
Yep. And there will be, there will be opportunities for refinances that'll ebb and flow.
Sure.
And again, if you're poised to do as much as possible for those clients during that period of time, you're going to have some great months. Take advantage of it.
Yeah. And be consistent.
Consistency.
And be constant. Yeah, I think that's what I would want everybody to leave with, because we talked about it even before we started streaming. Be constant, be consistent.
Don't give up.
Yeah, if you want to do your door knocking, but go be constant and consistent.
Absolutely.
All right. Jamie, how can our audience get a hold of you?
My gosh, I'm so easy to find. I'd be a terrible salesperson if I couldn't.
I say that to people all the time. Do you have a card? No. How do I find you? I'm like, Google Adam Smith everywhere. In Denver. I'm not hiding.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. My phone number is everywhere. Google me, look me up. The one thing I will promise, and I keep this promise every time, if you're out there and you're listening and you are feeling that fatigue, lean in to the people around you, including me. I will be glad to take 15 minutes with you and strategize on where your roadblocks are. And if nothing else, encourage you to keep going, because if you're still here, you obviously know how to be resilient and pivot. So let's help you have some really exceptional years in the coming years in your production.
I have a lot of past coaching clients that will do that. They'll call once a year. What am I doing?
Yeah, they just need a tune-up, right? Just a quick.
Yeah, they just need a little tune-up.
Yeah,
some of it's just a kick in the butt.
Yeah.
And some of it's like, well, are you doing the things we worked on? No.
No.
Oh, well, maybe you should get back to that.
Yep.
That's because that works. Okay. Well, Jamie, thank you. I know carving out this kind of time early on a Monday morning, and it is significantly earlier for you, is not an easy task. So thank you for doing it, and we'll do it again.
It was my pleasure, my friend. We'll have to do this again soon.
All right. And for those of you watching or listening live or in syndication, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel, but you can find out all the things at justthetipscoaching.com. There are links to get copies of my books. There will be a link for our annual Mile High Mastermind Conference, which is geared towards real estate agents and loan originators every fall here in the Mile High City. What else is there? You can get past episodes of the podcast. You can get our weekly video blog, the weekly little tip, all the things. Check out justthetipscoaching.com. Jamie, don't go anywhere. I still want to pick your brain a minute. I'm going to run our extra, and if you've got a few more minutes to spare for me, I would absolutely love it.
You bet.
All right. And for the rest of you, thanks for tuning in. You can catch us live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern on Mondays. And you can catch the podcast on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts 48 hours later. And we will see you guys next time. Jamie, thanks again.
Thank you.